In a world driven by sales, one event rises above the rest. Prepare for the ultimate sales experience that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Meet the titans of sales education, the pioneers of business transformation. They're not just speakers, they're the avengers of sales mastery, the architect of sales strategy, the customer experience champion. Over 22 industry giants sharing the stage for 2.5 days of electrifying insights. Every moment is a revelation. Every session a game changer. Forge connections that will propel your business into uncharted territory. Witness the power of knowledge and the thrill of success. This March, Sales Boost 2024 will be an epic event you won't want to miss. Get ready to be a part of history. Secure your spot today at salesboostlive.com. Sales Boost 2024, March 20th through 23rd, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Man, you know, when you find talent, it makes life easy. And about 8 months ago, maybe almost a year now, I was looking for a videographer, and this guy sent me his resume, and I was working through an agency to find him, and I saw his video and one of his videos that he sent, and immediately I said, I need this guy. I need him on my team. I need him now. And we went back and forth and almost lost him, but I was so glad that I stayed, like, just very persistent and said, I need you on my team. I know what, you're going to do great things for us, because he's like so incredible to put that video together. I said, Belt, I see a vision of the Avengers assembling for Sales Boost. Make it happen. And that's it. And he put all that together. So that's pretty cool.
I love it.
Marvin, how are you, sir?
I am amazing. I'm doing awesome. How about yourself, sir?
I am blessed, honored to be here with you. You're our first official Sales Boost speaker interview. And, every time I talk to you, you're just always so happy. I love hearing your voice and seeing what you're doing. So let's talk, man. Let's talk about what's going on with Salcido. And you had the big truck in the background before. I still see a part of it now. Talk about
I'll throw it back up there.
There it is. There it is. So tell our viewers a little bit about Marvin, where you're at, and what you have going on, so we can dive into a little bit of what we can expect from Marvin at Sales Boost.
All right. Well, my name's Marvin Salcido, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I love getting out there. I love building businesses. I business coach. I help people grow their businesses. But I'm not one of those that can't do, so I teach. I actually have done, and I do. And I'm super excited about the topic that I'm going to be talking about at Sales Boost. And I'm going to talk about how do you grow your business through mergers and acquisitions. And I'm going to tell the secret of how I grew my business by over 1,000% simply by buying out other companies and compiling them, bringing them together under one roof. And then we go in, we're stronger for it. We continue to move on, and then we just dominate our market. So I'm super excited about that. But like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've owned, purchased over 25 companies in my lifetime. Many I still own. I own everything from a lawn and landscaping business to a housekeeping, garage doors, home remodeling, HVAC company, to a mechanic shop, paint and body shop. We also have a classic car restoration company. And then I've got a real estate company, and then I've got some other stuff in the works that's coming up in the very near future. But I love the business side of business. When I first got into business, it was all about producing a widget, and I was out there and I was in the weeds of it. I was doing the work. I was an owner operator. Basically, I owned a job, and it's so easy to burn out when you are in the thick of it every day. And I got tired of it. I got burned out, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. And then I went and I got some business coaching, and I started learning about the other side of business. And that's the business side of business. And now business is fun because at a certain point, business becomes a math game. And I always enjoyed math growing up. And now business is a math game. You tweak and change and adjust your processes. And man, it's amazing what you can do and how much more profitability you can squeeze out of your business just by making some small changes, because those small changes means big profit. So that's what I do.
Marvin, I love how you're just going through the businesses that you owned. I think you just went home one day and said, babe, what services do we use? And just everything that you use in your daily life, you said, I'm going to buy that business and I'm going to buy that business.
So
And
that
then
is
maybe
actually a huge part of my process of why I added house cleaning, um, home remodeling, garage doors, HVAC, and I plan on adding electrical and plumbing as well. I'm actively looking for some companies, but that is exactly what happened. We hired a contractor to come and do some work for us at our house. He got started. He was doing a great job, and then the guy got in a motorcycle wreck, and he almost died.
Hmm.
He was out of commission, snapped his leg in several places. So he was out of commission for like 9 months. We hired somebody else. They came in, got started. They worked for one day and then disappeared on us. I hired somebody else. They never showed up. I hired somebody else. They never showed up. Like it was just this constant process. And I was talking to somebody. It's like, it shouldn't be this difficult. It just shouldn't be this hard to get somebody to show up. And it was simple work. I mean, it's not like we were trying to build the Taj Mahal. I wanted a couple of doors replaced and some stuff painted, and it was just I didn't have the time to do it. I had the knowledge, I just didn't have the time. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna solve my own problem. And then on top of that, I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was telling me about how her dishwasher stopped working. And so she called. They narrowed it down to the plug for the dishwasher wasn't working anymore. So they called an electrician. It was 2 weeks before the electrician could get out there. Electrician came out finally, looked at it. He's like, "Hey, as crazy as this sounds, you have a plumbing problem, not an electrical problem." He says your plumbing's leaking and is dripping on this plug, and it killed this plug. So you need to call a plumber before I can fix the electrical.
Jeez.
He said, okay, no problem. Called the plumber 2 more weeks before the plumber could get out there. So she's a month into this process and still has zero solutions. So plumber gets out there, makes his repair. Didn't take him very long. Says, okay, you can call the electrician back. Calls the electrician. It's another 2 weeks before the electrician can get out there. So a month and a half into this whole process before she even gets her dishwasher fixed. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't be that difficult. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to help solve her problem too. And even though I haven't fully solved it yet, I'm working towards that. But what if you called a company, they came out, looked at your electrical, said, hey, you got a plumbing problem. Let me get the plumbing department over here. Plumbing comes out later that day or the next day and fixes your problem. So it's no longer a month and a half process. It's taken from a month and a half down to a day or two. And then hey, we fixed our part. Let's get the electrical back out here. I talked to them. They have an opening tomorrow. They'll be out here. They'll fix everything, and then we'll be done. And then on top of that, if you need construction to jump in because they have to tear out part of the wall or whatever, construction can jump in, remud the wall, repaint it, whatever. Problem solved, easy peasy. And then on top of that, I want to start, I'm kind of getting into the weeds here, but I plan on starting selling memberships with our business. And if you buy into this membership, if you become a preferred client with Salcido Home Solutions, then you get preferred scheduling with Salcido Home Solutions. So let's say you have an electrical problem and we are a week out. Well, for our preferred members, we're a day out. I'm
Mm.
going to find a spot for you and I'm going to squeeze you into the schedule and we're going to make your we're going to make that visit possible sooner rather than later because we're going to find a spot available for our preferred clients.
I
So
love that subscription-based model, and I mean, it's all about servicing or serving value to our customers. And again, the plumber needs an electrician needs the handyman, whatever it is. You got to go through calling 10 different companies to try and get one of them to answer. Then you don't know if they're going to show up, and if they don't show up, then you got to go through that whole cycle again. So, what better than having
it's
everything
a
under one roof?
nightmare.
Yeah, one under one roof. And now it's like, don't worry about it, Mrs. Smith. We've got you covered. John will be out here tomorrow. Once he's done with electrical, I'll be back right after that to take care of that. Your 6-week no dishwasher became, a 3 or 4 day
A
issue.
day or two or a 3-day. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And I'd go crazy if my dishwasher don't work. I use that thing daily in my house.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd probably be investing in paper plates at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it shouldn't be that difficult. It really shouldn't. And the beauty of it is I've already built a relationship with the client through Salcedo Lawn. They already know us. They already love us. And it's not that far of a stretch for us to go ahead and add on these additional services because they already know us. They already love us. We already have such a strong brand here in town. It's easier for us to go ahead and add these services on and bring more value to our clients.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's incredible because I can't tell you how many times we've referred other companies that we know, like, and trust as well, but you just never know. Let's keep it in house. Let's get some more of the profit share of that coming back to us and just make the customer happy.
Yep, absolutely.
And that subscription model, we go down a rabbit hole on that one. How much you want to charge?
That's easy money right there.
Yes. I mean, you got to make it so it's not noticeable, but it's still making you guys money so that, if it's like a Netflix subscription or something like that,
Yeah, we're kicking around the idea of like $30 a month. And then you do that, you're going to get a discount on all of our services. We're going to entice you to make sure that you are using us for your housekeeping, your home remodeling, your HVAC, your garage doors, your plumbing, electrical, lawn maintenance. I mean, if you can pay $30 a month and get 10% off, why wouldn't you do it? It's a no-brainer at that point.
Yeah, I was actually just talking with Trevor Steele today about subscription model for his business or other business out there, and I've rarely seen people pull it off, but when they do, it's incredible for the company with that recurring revenue. But when you go and sell your company, like, that's where a lot of the magic happens too. So
absolutely.
Well, Marvin, I know you didn't just jump into the entrepreneurial world with all the success and millions in the bank account. Can you just kind of talk about how you landed into the lawn care business and decided to grow that?
Man, it's taken me 20 years to be an overnight success.
It's a long nap.
In all reality, it has. So, I mean, I started out as a broke college student. I was hungry, and that's how I got into the lawn and landscaping business. I remember calling my dad up. I was 18, 19 years old, and I called him up and I was like, hey, I don't know what else to do. The job I have, it's not paying the bills. I barely have anything over at the end of the month. Do you got any ideas? And at that time, I didn't have a lot of job experience. I mean, I had been a janitor, and that's about the bulk of my experience. I mean, that's all I had ever done. And now, man, I could clean a mean toilet. And matter of fact, I worked for a company that I used to clean like 120 toilets a night. Worked for a school system, and that's what I did. I cleaned their toilets. I went through, I cleaned all the floors, bathrooms, everything, every night. And it's a pain in the butt. But I didn't have a lot of experience. I didn't know what else to do. And so I called my dad, and he said, give me an hour. I'll call you back. So he racked his brain for an hour, and he called me back, and he said, go do what you know how to do. He's like, you know how to mow yards? He said, I'll help you get started. and get out there and hustle, pick up some properties and go start mowing yards. And like they say, well, I don't even remember what they say because my brain is tired, but the rest is history. That's what I'm looking for right there. I got started. I printed up some really, really, really crappy flyers, and I started passing them out and started picking up properties. And, I went house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood. I started in all the neighborhoods that I liked, where the big houses and whatever. And I started mowing yards. And I grew my business from there. This is up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and grew that business. And then I sold it, and I moved down to Texas, where I am today. And I started over. And I remember I moved to Tyler in June of 2003. I think I moved here June 1st of 2003, and by June 3rd, I started my business. And I did the same thing. I copy and pasted. I printed some flyers, and I literally just started knocking doors. And I got out there and I hustled, and I grew the business and built it up. Added more crews, and just continued to multiply from there. And over the years, I've learned a whole lot. I merged with somebody. We grew the business really big. The merger fell, the partnership fell apart. And in October of 2016, I walked away and I started over. It was crazy. The most terrifying time of my life was 2016. I was super depressed at the beginning of the year. My marriage almost fell apart. My partnership did fall apart. I had a negative net worth. I was worth nothing. I had nothing. And walked away from the partnership in October 1st, 2016. And I set out to grow the business as fast as humanly possible. And that's what I did. I hustled. I got out there. I'm knocking doors. I'm passing out flyers. I literally went door to door to door, and just regrew the business very fast. I did tons and tons of advertising. I did tons and tons of content marketing, and we pushed. I had a couple of different goals when I started over. I wanted to recoup my income as fast as possible, because I went from making like 100,000 a year to making 40,000 a year, and so I needed to recoup my income. And then two, I wanted to become a household name. I wanted everybody in our town to know who we were, and that's what I did. I tell people that I forced our way into the market, and that's exactly what we did. I made people pay attention to who we were. You see right behind me, this lime green truck, all my trucks are lime green. You cannot go anywhere in our town without seeing one of my trucks, and people know who we are. And, I remember sitting down with my wife during that time and talking with her. And a matter of fact, I think she was still in the hospital, because that was another thing. My wife almost died. Like, it was a crazy 2016. So she's recovering. I'm talking with her in the hospital. I'm telling her what we're having to do, leaving the company, starting over. And I told her, I said, I need 3 years. Give me 3 years and I'll make it happen. And I said, I'm going to have to work a lot. It's going to be a lot of crazy hours. I said, but just give me 3 years. And she told me, she said, you've said that before. And it's not fair. And I said, you're right. I did say that before. And it's not fair. I said, it's not fair to you. It's not fair to the kids. I said, but life isn't fair. And right now, where we are, I have to play with the cards that I'm dealt. These are the cards that were dealt. And so I'm going to have to hustle, and I'm going to have to grow this business. And that's what I did. I jumped into the deep end, and I made it happen. I think that a lot of times when you have no options in life, when your back is against the wall, you come up with creative solutions. You figure out a way to make things happen. And I've watched people, and even in my business coaching, I've talked through scenarios and tried to help people out, and I can tell that they're missing something. And the more and more I look at it, the more I try and figure everything out, I realize they don't want it bad enough. Mm-hmm. That as much, I can give them all the tools, and I can show them, like, look, this is You do this and this and this and this and this, but they can do some sort of version, excuse me, some sort of version of that. But if they don't really try, if they don't really push it forward, what are they going to do? They're not going to have the kind of success that they want and they crave because they just don't want it bad enough. And I'm thoroughly convinced, and I'll sit here and I'll argue with you about this because I'm that convinced about it. When you want it as bad as you want your next breath, you will figure out a way. You will figure out a solution. But if I told you, if I came over there, JC, and I put a gun to your head and I said, look, you have to, better yet, put a gun to Angela's head. And I said, look, you have to go get $100,000 worth of Christmas light sales in the next month or it's over. What are you going to do?
We get 200,000.
You are going to make it happen.
Yep.
You are going to come up with creative solutions. You're going to be making phone calls from morning till night. I mean, you're going to be out there and you're going to be knocking doors and talking to business owners. And you know what? Dang it, you're going to come up with $100,000 worth of Christmas light sales.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that so many of these guys that they just don't want it bad enough. They either have a windfall or, they're like, I'm comfortable enough. I make enough money to get by. But is that all you want? Do you want mediocrity? I don't want mediocrity in life. I refuse to be average.
Yep. I don't want to associate myself with that. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. And so that's why I push the way to that I do. And I frustrate my team. I know I do. And I have to warn them. And there's sometimes I'll walk into a meeting and I'll be like, okay, guys, I'm fired up. Buckle up. Here we go. And they know to get ready because it's going to be, I have some kind of crazy harebrained idea. Like one day I walked in and I told my director, I said, hey, guess what? We're adding 4 new services. She's like, oh, okay. She's like, next year? I said, no, next month. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And you know what? We made it happen. And because, I refuse to be mediocre. I refuse to have mediocrity in my life. And I push hard. And those that are around me, yeah, I make them uncomfortable, but it's a good uncomfortable because I stretch them and I help them to become better versions of themselves because of it. So,
yeah, I'm so much there. I'm gonna try and work my way back, but first thing talking about the ones that want it versus the ones that don't want it, and being in the industry for 15 years now, is it? Yeah, 15 years. I started at the bottom. I was part-time, full-time Navy, working with just my dad and I. And once I joined Conquer 2019, I realized, like, oh my God, like there's so much more out there than doing this by yourself. Like, this is not the life you want to live, JC. You've got kids, you got a family, you want to travel, you want to do all this stuff, but you can't be answering the phones, doing all this stuff. So that's like where I just let go and said, here, let's build this team. And I didn't make excuses. Like you said, I went in all in. And I made it happen. I hired, I fired. We spent money. We invested in branding. I think branding is a huge part of our success. And your branding's different from my brand. Mine's full wrap with like all these cool colors and all the stuff on there. Yours is bright green and it's a brand. And everybody knows that brand. When they see it, they know that's Salcido. Mine's obnoxiously awesome, as we like to say when I went with the designer. That's what I wanted. But when they saw one truck back when we only had one truck, they say, we saw your trucks everywhere. There's a pattern.
Dude, I see your trucks everywhere.
We only had one. And now we have, depending on what company we're in, we're like 8 or 12 vehicles that are fully wrapped. So it's out there, it's loud, and people know the brand. They want to call us because they know they can trust us, and they see us in the yards, the neighbors' yards, and everything like that. But the ones that aren't doing those things, making excuses, I feel like those are the ones that are blaming everybody for their failures in life, their failures in business. They're blaming the economy. They're blaming the people who don't want to work. They're blaming other competitors coming through and just trashing the market. Meanwhile, you have us with our heads down, just grinding, going straight through. Like, I don't care about the economy. I don't care about the recession. I don't care about, let's go back to 2020, 21 with COVID. I didn't care about that. It sucked, but we still pivoted. and we're year over year growth throughout COVID. Still are every single year with our lighting industry, and you see them. I won't say it's easy to point them out until you start talking to them and seeing the excuses come out of their mouth. But for those that want to get it done, they're going to be attending industry events. They're going to be coming to Sales Boost in March because they know they're going to find success there and learn from others. And you're bringing a viewpoint from multi-business venture you have going on, primarily starting with the lawn care, but like the fact that you're adding that on there. And so many people do want to learn about that subscription-based model because I love it. And I wish there was a way to implement that in one of my businesses. And I'm sure there is. So I'd like to pick your brain about that one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But getting in the rooms like Sales Boost, like the huge convention, and learning from others. And I say it all the time. Like if you went to a show in 2019, if you went to a show in 2022 and you go to a show in 2024, every single time you went to that show, you're in a different mindset as a business owner. So you're going to hear different things. You might hear the same speakers. If I heard Tommy Mello last year and I heard him this year and it's the same exact speech, I'm going to hear two different versions of that speech because I'm not in the same headspace I was a year ago. I'm not the same leader. I'm not the same business owner. But you got to get in these rooms. You got to get out there. You got to go network. You got to hear people speak. You got to go talk to other people and build that tribe and see how they're getting successful. Like Marvin, you've done it. You've went from doing incredible to rock bottom and right back to it 8 years later, right? It was 8 years when you had the split?
7 years ago.
I mean, it's just proof that, hey, if life is bad right now, business sucks, that's okay. Like, just put your head into the game, give it all you got, be ready to sacrifice, kind of like the old Ramsey beans and rice model. Like you're going to sacrifice
beans and rice and beans.
Yeah. And you're going to make it happen, but don't sit here and just say, I can't do it. Make excuses for yourself, make excuses for your business, because that's not the legacy you want to give to your company, to your family, and to the people that trust you. So.
Yeah, I agree.
So I love that, we've got Sales Boost started with Pat Clark. He was primarily into the pressure washing game back in the day. And he started it for his business, for his company, for all his employees to come to it. And then over the last 4 or 5 years, he started opening up to anybody that wanted to show up. And it was cool because I went to one of his first ones in 2019. I sent my guys to the one in 21. I went to 22 and 23. And here we are doing 24. And we're opening up to a larger industry. I mean, we're bringing yourself in, not specifically talking about lawn care, but you're coming from the lawn care industry. We got Sam Gamble, incredible company out in Michigan. Mike Gandy's, who I'm just learning so much more about that guy. He's absolutely incredible too. And just a wealth of other speakers to come in there and just to talk very specifically on how to grow your business using sales. And yours is through the acquisitions, which is very sexy to a lot of companies right now, because why invest the time and the money to grow something the hard way or even acquire a new location when you've got, I've seen your speech 2 times now, ways to do it with no money out of pocket. And everybody's happy. And if you can tell me I'm going to go buy a $500,000 company and not put a dime out of pocket, I'm going to call bullshit. And you're going to show me like, no, you can do it.
I've done it
over and over again. And that just opens up so many spaces and doors for these companies that are trying to grow that just don't have the money sitting in a bank account. And now Marvin's going to show you how to be successful in not only talking to these companies, but finding them too. You've got some good stories about that.
Well, you got to figure there's $68 trillion about to change hands. $68 trillion. I mean, do you realize how much money that is? That's a lot of freaking money. And, we have a whole generation that is ready to retire. Like they are aging out of the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
And, many of these own our small businesses. And these small businesses are going to change hands somehow. Whether that is they sell the business, they make that transfer, they pass it down to a kid. or they just give it the Viking funeral and just shut it down. And,
Mhm.
all those clients go somewhere else. This wealth is going to change hands. And if you can come in and you can offer a good solution to to this person that is ready, this business owner that's ready to retire, if you can come in and offer a win-win solution to them to where they're able to retire gracefully and their legacy still live on, their business doesn't die with them, then why not? Why not offer them that solution? Now, am I going to turn around and every business I talk to is ready to sell or wants to do it, no money down? Or no, absolutely not. It's a numbers game. I probably get 20 no's before I get one. Yeah, let's talk. But that's the same in business. We do this every day. It's the same thing. Business, everything that we do is a numbers game. I
Mhm.
mean, how many large commercial clients for Christmas lighting are you talking to before you get a yes?
Oh, shoot. And how many years does it take to get that yes on some of them?
Yeah, you have to build and cultivate these relationships. Sometimes the longest deal that I did, it took me 2 years to close the deal.
Mm.
2 years. But I worked with the guy and I talked with him and we went back and forth and then I pissed him off and he didn't talk to me for almost a year and then he circled back around and then we talked some more and then he was like, "Okay, let's make a deal." Yeah, let's make a deal. Let's do this to where it is win-win for everybody. You can walk away. You can go be all that you want to be. If you want to go and fish or just sit in your easy chair and watch TV all day, let's do that. Let's make that happen for you. I want to be a dream maker. I want to make your dreams come true. How can we make that happen? If it's in a way that it makes financial sense for me and it makes financial sense for you, let's talk and then let's make those dreams come true.
Yeah, that number you just said in the beginning, that those trillions of dollars, very astounding number.
68 trillion.
Yeah, and we've had a local dry cleaner that was here, the only dry cleaner in our town, very small little town, shut down 2 years ago. Didn't sell it, didn't do nothing with it, just shut it down. They said we're going
That's
to
what
retire,
happens so much.
do nothing with it. I've
They're
got an
done.
electrician right next to me in my building, and I go up to him all the time. I'm like, "You ready to retire yet?" He's like, I wouldn't know. Like, he just doesn't know how to sell his business, and I don't want nothing to do with his business. If you want to buy electrical business, but like,
Yeah.
here he is. I don't know. He's older than dirt and just still working every day because he doesn't know what to do with it. And he was supposed to retire 2 years ago and still is going because he just doesn't know how to end it. But
Yeah.
if you approach them, I mean, I think it was 3 years ago, we made a list of every single competitor in our area for like a 90-mile radius and just introduce ourselves and said, if you want to sell, we would love the opportunity to talk because you just never know. And not
Yeah.
every person that's trying to sell is going to be the right person for you to buy from because some of them are just
No, absolutely not.
absolutely crazy or just ran a poor business and there was no saving that and they should just burn it to the ground. But if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yep. Absolutely. And just remember this, not all money's good money. And just because a business is making tons of cash does not mean it's the right business for you. You have to be interested in it enough that you're motivated to keep running it. Just because it
Mhm.
makes money does not mean it makes money for you.
Right.
So you've got to find that right business that fits within your wheelhouse or you're willing to learn about it enough that you can run it.
Yeah.
When I jumped into the mechanicing business, man, I didn't know nothing about mechanicing. And, here we are 2 years later and we're still rocking and rolling. And I actually just brought in a partner in that business to help me grow even faster because he has a lot more of the technical knowledge that I don't have. And you know what? I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not. I'm not, I've told people before, I'm not a smart man. I'm not dumb by any means, but I know how to hire the smartest man in the room. And
That's
that's
right.
what I do. I bring incredible people around me and then I draw greatness out of them. And then together we do some amazing things. So, I mean, that's what I'm doing here. I kind of brought the mechanic shop as far as I could on my own. Now I've gone out and I found somebody that has all that technical knowledge. I'm like, hey, come alongside me. Let's do something amazing together. Let's grow this. Let's make some money. And, we're 30 days in. So things are rocking and rolling, going really good. And I'm super excited about where we're headed with the future of this company.
That's awesome, man. I'm so excited to hear more about your the growth of the company and everything you're doing at Sales Boost this March 20th to 23rd. If you want to learn about mergers and acquisitions, Marvin is your man, and he will be able to talk you through. I mean, the stories that you told, again, I've heard them twice, and each time I hear something different. And blown away that the deals that you were able to work out and be so successful. So now I know that it is possible to do it. So we look forward to seeing Sales Boost, Marvin. Thank you so much for jumping on, and we will see you in less than 7 weeks or 7 weeks from now.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thank you for having me, and I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a ton of fun.
All right, Marvin. Take care.